Thanks. So I am doing another group of chapters, or set of chapters, for the Traveler's Wish. Alrighty. So, moving this so I can be comfortable. Okay. Chapter 36. Master Splinter listened to me explain what happened silently, stroking his beard when Donatello explained to him about the effects of this parallel to my family. That I died here, but they didn't. But when I told him how me and my troupe were supposed to perform on the flying trapeze tomorrow, he didn't yell or act displeased like I knew he would, but much to my surprise, he burst out laughing. Master, I'm not joking, I'm dead serious, I explained sullenly. This only made him laugh even harder. I hope so. His laughter resonated within the entire lair. It's so much funnier if it's true. Then he contained himself. Whatever you decide to do, my unfortunate traveler, I wish you and unfortunate troupe the best of luck. He started heading towards his room to go to sleep. You're gonna need it, he laughed as he walked away. I practically fell down into the Fae's easy boy chair, started rubbing the back of my neck. Something I do when I'm worried or anxious. We could always just not show up, suggested Ralph as he plopped quite loudly onto the couch. Yeah, and ruin my family's job? He's probably already told the boss that he's found replacements. If nobody's on that trap tomorrow, my brother's world would be ruined, and my family wouldn't get hired back next year. I will not do that to them. Even though they aren't my family, they're still family. But how the show am I going to pull this off? Oh, and I thought it would be something bad, commented Michelangelo with rhetorical sarcasm. Well, that settles it then, affirmed Leonardo. It's time to break out the tights. Things had settled down, and it was nearing midnight. I'd been at Donnie's computer for more than an hour and a half now, trying to figure out exactly how this would work. It would be a long shot, but it just might work. Thankfully, my 4 comrades have had a good decade's worth of stealth and acrobatic training, though now that they were human, it was considerably weaker, but hopefully mixed with the 13 years of circus training, it will all come together somehow. Or we die trying. Literally, not figuratively, unfortunately. Michelangelo and Donatello had gone to sleep, and Raphael was starting to doze off on the couch while watching some Clint Eastwood western. I looked over to the table and saw Leonardo sulking there. Not a mad sulking. I know that look. That's a confused teenage angst look. And I'm willing to bet a certain Japanese ninja chick had something to do with this. I reached into my pocket, pulling out a broken iPod knockoff. Angry love songs, I thought to myself. This should be fun. I was finished much faster than I expected, slipping the now perfect and upgraded music-playing device into my soft cotton pajama pocket. I got up and seated myself next to him. He eyed me as I sat down silently across from him at the table. Dr. Roxanne making her rounds again? He asked, lightening up about his current condition. What gave me away? Oh, I don't know. Maybe the way you walked over here like you're going to put a big Band-Aid on me. He smirked lightly. Well, psychology was one of my favorite subjects. Fresh out of Band-Aids, but I'm ready to join your pity party, if you'll have me. I gave him the what's wrong look. He remained silent. Oh no, fearless leader, we're going to break down that macho wall tonight. He's going to discuss his feelings with me, and he's gonna like it. Good thing I said that in my head and not out loud. Man, I'm pushy. It's Kiara, isn't it? Is it that obvious? He shook his head. Is it ever anything else? I chuckled. Oh, but least you forget, oh fearless one. I'm Roxanne, the all-knowing. Don't think this is the first time I've seen you like this. I should know the signs by now, man. She just really knows how to push my buttons. He crossed his arms, eyes thoroughly concentrated on the checkered tablecloth, finally giving in and answering me. And she acts like she doesn't realize that I don't know how to do this whole flirty thing, that I've never done this before. But I know she does, and I think she enjoys seeing me frustrated. He ran his hand through his jet black hair and started tugging on it in frustration. I don't know how to deal with this. First, I thought she could be good, then I thought she was bad. Then she goes and saves you, and now I'm back to the drawing boards. Is she good? Is she evil? Where do her true loyalties lie if it came all down to it? To what's right, or to her father? I don't know any of that. All I know is that in my that my head, heart, body, everything goes crazy when I'm around her. He sighed, covering his face with his hands, sounding embarrassed at his outburst. Oh no, Raphael is right. God, I'm such a cheeseball. I chuckled and pulled his hand away from his face. No, Leonardo, you're not a cheeseball. I looked him dead in the eyes. Okay, yes, maybe that was a lie, but it's only a little one. Think about it. Every great hero needs a sexy anti-hero to spice up their life. Someone pure-hearted and courageous like you can't help but be attracted to the seductive powers of the dark side. He rolled his eyes at my very dramatic speech. He probably thinks I'm the cheeseball. I just continued. Someone who's evil, but not at the core. Who's a villain, but whose own morality always makes them do the right thing in the end. It's a tale as old as time. Or, well, comic books anyway. I smiled. Just like Batman and Catwoman? Who? He raised his eyebrows. Funny. He now has his eyebrows to raise. You know, Bruce Wayne, Batmobile, Robin. No, I don't, he replied. They must not have that here. Buffy and Spike? He shook his head. Xena and Ares. He just looked more puzzled than before. I guess him and Kiari have more than enough for this universe. She's just so... He sighed, leaned back into the creaky dining chair. That's the thing. I just don't know. I put my hand on his shoulder. Kiara, well, she's a mystery, all right. That's why I like her so much. You know, besides you four, she's one of my favorite beings from this universe. But shh, don't tell April I said that. I put my finger to my grinning lips. But I'll let you in on a few spoilers. She's not as evil as she seems. She does good whenever and wherever she can, when she thinks nobody's looking. She's loyal to a fault to the Shredder, but she disapproves of some of the ways he does things, and in the past parallels, she's saved your lives many times from him. I squeezed his shoulder till he smiled a bit. But then I warned. Just be careful. Anti-heroes are a tricky business. Sexy as hell, but trouble as well. Remember, she serves and loves her father very much. She would die for him, until she finds out the truth. He cocked his head. What truth? Oops, I've said too much. I just grinned in a way that would make River Song proud. Shh, spoilers. I grinned wickedly. He laughed. Aw, you're no fun. I pouted dramatically. I'm too. Then I remembered the iPod, still in my pocket. Here. I handed it to him. What's this for? He asked, slightly amused. Angst management, I joked, standing up and stretching and yawning. I'm going to sleep. Then I looked over to my makeshift bed. Raphael, by now, had completely zoned out on it. He looked so peaceful there, with his mouth wide open. I got the sudden urge to find a feather and some shaving cream. That, of course, if I can get it back. And I'd recommend you to get some sleep as well, because if we manage to survive tomorrow, it's going to be one shell of a long day. Chapter 37. 5 more minutes, whined Michelangelo as I gently shook him awake. And by gently, mean violently. By no man showbiz waits for no man. Then I paused and complimented on that for a second. Or Traveler, or former mutant turtle boy. Get up, dude. It was still quite dark out as the cab dropped us off behind the circus arena building. Raphael yawned. Roxanne, it's 4 a.m. What are we doing here so early? There probably isn't anyone here, and I just know that building is locked. Just trust me. I gave him a knowing wink, before turning and heading towards the many trailers that were parked along the back of the building. Yes, I know it's early, and I know for a fact that none of us like to get up early, but we need to get into the building before any of the other performers are awake, so we can practice. I headed up several steps and pulled on one of the metal doors. It was locked. I tried the next, same result. I began making my way to try each one of the dozen doors that lined the backstage areas. It's locked. I told you it's locked, Raphael stated matter-of-factly as I pulled on yet another locked door. Oh, ye little faith. Listen, a few trailers that some performers live in don't have showers installed, so when a show plays a building, they often leave one dummy locked, so people can take showers inside the dressing rooms. I spotted a door that was third to last, and the handle wasn't as fully upright as the rest. I sent a smirk in his directions as I reached for it. You just have to find the right door. It swung open. I sent Raphael a look that clearly stated, Care to say anything now? I stepped inside. It was dark in the arena, but only a little light came from one of the dressing rooms in the hallway, obliviously left on so you wouldn't have to stumble around in the dark looking for the bathroom. I locked the door behind me. I felt along the wall looking for the breaker box. Then I realized how quiet the guys had been. If I didn't know any better, I would have I wouldn't have even realized that there was anyone in here with me. Man, you guys are awfully quiet, I stated. Well, we're ninjas, duh. Michelangelo stepped out to where I could see him. Yeah, silence is kind of our thing, replied Leonardo with a hint of sarcasm in his voice. I smiled, a silent chuckle escaping from me. I felt the box and flipped the biggest switch with my fingers fanned, and the giant overhead lights turned on in the arena, lighting up the ring and the aerial rings. What are you doing? Donnie's hand folded for the box to turn the lights back off. I batted away, stopping him. Are you crazy? If anyone sees these lights, they'll know we're here, he wrenched at me. That's the beauty of it, Donatello. Technically, we work here. We have a right to be in here and practice. And nobody will be in here for won't be in here for a while. Then why did you get us up at 3 in the morning, when we could have come at a decent hour and after a real breakfast? What's with all the secrecy? Michelangelo asked with a hint of a whine in his voice. I looked at the faces of his brothers, all probably thinking the same thing. Because, for all they know, we are a trained team, who has been performing for years. They can't see me instructing you, or you guys failing at first. Plus, we need the extra hours practice. I noticed my hand was rubbing my neck again, my nervous twitch. I really hope that I can pull this off. I can't doubt myself on this now. But it's hard, because I know they do. Deep down, they doubt themselves as well. Okay, focus. Head in the game. I led them through the curtain and into the ring. I'm going to transform you back now. Don't worry. I locked the door so nobody will see you. I know you can do most of the somersaults and flips up there in turtle form. Heck, you guys do better rooftop-to-rooftop flips than any aerialist could ever do on a trapeze. I know you can do this in turtle form, but I can only hold it for about 20 minutes. So we are going to learn it fast, and hopefully you retain some when I turn you human again. And whatever you don't remember, I'll show you, and you will be able to copy it. Raph and Donnie shot each other, and what the shell are we getting ourselves into look? But first, let me assign you posts. Yes, ma'am, Mickey. Mikey Mock saluted me. Leo, me, and you lead flyers. Just follow my lead. Okay, he nodded. Raph, I'm going to need my walking armored tank as a catcher. He smiled at my slight compliment to his immense strength. Donatello, I know you're a little uncoordinated airborne and not entirely enthused at this idea, but I need you to catch the bar and hold it as the next person gets ready to jump. He looked relieved at the idea of not having to swing inches away from death. Oh, don't think you're getting out of the limelight that easy. I need a partner for our team's stunts, and when you're human, you're the closest to my weight. I looked at his lanky hue and build. He groaned quietly. Did I mention this will probably impress April beyond belief? He smiled. He knew I found his niche. Anything for April. Hey, what about me? Complained Michelangelo, thinking that I had forgotten about him, as it tends to happen to him a lot. Michelangelo, I have the perfect spot in mind for you. Yeah, on the ground, holding the net, joked Raphael. I glared at him. I'm kidding, he laughed. Mikey, you're the smallest and fastest, most agile, and best at flips. You're my somersaulter. I want you doing doubles, triples, and who knows, maybe even a quad. But I know it's perfect your spot and always the crowd favorite. I closed my eyes, willing the transformation to happen. I felt as if a form of energy surged out of me, and when I opened my eyes, I saw that it had worked. Yes, Mikey fist pumped into the air. Man, I love being a turtle, said Donatello, relieved. That unknown to him reference to the 2003 universe made me smile. The soul of each incarnation of the Ninja Turtles were more connected here in this world. Come on, guys. Last one to the top hatched formed a rotten egg. I taunted as I grabbed the rope ladder and began making my way to the platform. They followed me. No, not you, Raphael. You climb that rope over there and get to the catcher's trapeze. He shrugged and headed for the rope to climb the oddly shaped catcher's trapeze. As I passed the net, I reached out and pulled on it with my hand, double-checking the tautness. Okay, I made it up now. What do I do? Raphael's voice called out from above me. I looked up as he dangled from the rope with an iron grip, staring confused at the double-bar contraption known as the catcher's trap. Just hang tight. Let me get to the pedestal and I will help you out. I told him as I shimmied up the ladder as fast as I could, with the rest of my team right behind me. I reached the small 6x3 aluminum platform and hung a good 45 feet above the circus floor. I quickly helped the guys up and showed them where to stand and hang on. That's fine, take your time, Raphael called out, rather annoyed. Oh, didn't realize he was still there. Okay, Raph, reach out and grab the bar. Once you've got a good grip, let go of the rope and swing up. Hook your knees on top of the first bar, and then hook your feet under the second one. Oh, and I thought it would be hard, he grunted as he reached out for the bar and slowly let go of the rope, suspended by only his hands as he hung there. He looked me dead in the eyes. If I die, I'm going to kill you. He used his cord to bring his knees up past his chest and hook them under the bar in the way that I described to them. I sighed in relief. Now, the easy part's over. Now, what I'm supposed to do, hang here like a piece of meat at market, he complained. Baloney, said Michelangelo through a fake cough, cracking up his brothers. You're doing great. Now reach up and grab the sides of the traps and pull yourself into a sitting position. He did. He looked at me with fake boredom. That's all you got, circus princess? Oh, no, he didn't. Wait, he called me princess? Was that supposed to be a compliment or an insult? Whatever. Just sit tight while I work things out on this end. I unhooked the flyer's trap from the spot that held it out of the way. Donnie, your job is to catch this every time it comes back. Hold this pole with one hand and reach out with the other to grab it. After I explained that to him and showed Leo and Mikey how to grab hold of an incoming flyer, it was time for a moment of truth. I got Raphael to swing himself and told him about the rhythm of the swing and how to grip on the catch. I took a deep breath as Donatello handed me the bar. 3, 2, 1. I counted off in my head and thrust myself off the pedestal. I swung a good 15 feet before I released myself into a somersault. I felt a pang of fear in my stomach as my hands left the bar and I was suspended in midair. I hadn't flown since before the accident. My boyfriend was part of the last troop of flyers we had on the show, and we haven't had one since they were fired from the show last year. Another pang of fear as I reached out for Raphael's outstretched hands, the distance rapidly closing between us. Would he be able to catch me? What if he misses? Well, I'll land in the net. Then again, there's always the chance you bounce out and die. Our hands met with a loud, glorious clap. You did it? I stated more like a question of disbelief. What, you doubted me, Roxy? He smirked from me above as we swung. Not for a second, I smiled. Okay, maybe a second, but I'm not going to tell him that. Okay, now release once we swing back towards the pedestal. He did, with amazingly perfect timing, too. I twisted midair so that I faced the trapeze when I caught it. I sighed in relief as I clasped it in my hands. That went amazing. I hope he can do it when he's human. Mike and Leo grabbed me and pulled me onto the platform when I swung up on it. Bravo, Leonardo patted me on the back. Thanks, but you should be applauding Ralph. Okay, Mikey, you're next. With the remaining 15 minutes I had them as turtles, I got them all to perform a basic swing and catch and how to return. They even managed a few flips and twists. Okay, guys, time's up, I said while helping Donatello back onto the pedestal. Time to see if we can pull this off, human. Chapter 38. After I morphed them and changed them into some more suitable, stretchy clothes, and after some slightly bitchy remarks from Raph about how I never said anything about tights, then wrapping their wrists with white sport tape for grip, we were finally ready to try it out. Well, ready-ish anyways. Wow, I never realized how high that was until just now, said Donatello cautiously while holding onto the sides of the rig with a death grip. Yeah, the senses are different as humans. As human. We are, well, how do I put this? I paused awkwardly while trying to reassure him. Less indestructible? Input Leonardo. Yeah, that would be it, I nodded while reaching for the rosin bag that was attached to the side of the rig. What's that? Asked Donatello. Well, he began tapping the bag against my palms and a little of the white powder that missed my hands rained down off the platform and began gently floating to the ground. It's rosin. It makes your hands stop sweating, makes them stickier, and, well, grippier, if that's even a word. I joked before tossing the bag to Michelangelo. A look of complete déjà vu washed over his face. He brought the bag up to his nose and sniffed it. That's it, he exclaimed. I gave him a puzzled look. This is the smell. This is the stuff you smelled like when we first found you. It was such a weird smell, and now I know what it is. He explained excitedly, like Sherlock Holmes when he cracks a case. I laughed as I reached out for the bar. My normal, lightly tanned, five-fingered hands gripped tightly to the trapeze. That's how pretty much most circus girls smell, like perfume and rosin. I looked down at the net and bit my lip, praying that if he did drop me, it would be straight into the net and not sideways or off the edge. I ain't got all day, said Ralph, sarcastically, as he dangled from the catcher's trap. I heard the covered-up fear in his voice, and I saw it in his eyes. He was just as scared as me. He didn't realize how much of a burden I'd put on him. I could teach his brothers how to fly, no problem. But the truth of the matter is I can't catch. I don't know how to do so. I can't show him. This is all on him. You guys sure you're okay with this? I asked quietly. Are we okay with this? Smirked Donnie. Did you really just ask that, Roxanne? Grinned Lord Leonardo. Are you kidding? This is the most fun I've ever had. It's a real challenge, and I'm loving it, Mikey half yelled at me. Yeah, Traveler, there's no way we're letting you chicken out now, exclaimed Raphael from across the rig. Me? Chicken? I asked, getting ready to swing. Cold day in hell before that happens. I inhaled quickly before giving the command. Up! I swung out, tucking my knees up to my chest as I released from the bar, giving my body enough force to propel myself into a single flip. I held my breath as I saw, as if in slow motion, Raphael's hands come closer and closer. He caught me. His brothers cheered and clapped. You did it! I exclaimed, pride bursting in my voice. Without thinking, using my arms, I pulled myself up with my arms and quickly kissed him on the forehead. He was so surprised that he let go, and I fell. I heard Michelangelo scream and Donnie gasp. I instinctively moved into a low-impact landing position and gracefully bounced into the net. I stood up and smiled at the relieved face and took a graceful sweeping bow. Well now, at least you guys know how to land in a net, I chuckled. Sorry, Raphael spoke, blushing and apologetic. It's okay, bro, just don't make a habit of it. Okay, Leo, you're up. Sunlight streamed into the windows on the top levels of the arena, as the sun had just risen. We had been practicing for about 2.5 hours, and I was bursting with pride as they executed each move almost perfectly. Sure, they fell and bounced into the net a couple of times, but they got there eventually. It took me a while to perfect the passing leap with Donatello, as it was a team move, and I could only show him it by myself. But by sunrise, he had it almost completely down. Leonardo had the twists and sideways flips down perfectly, and I felt like a proud mama hen each time he landed them. And Michelangelo? Talk about natural talent. Unfortunately, I could only perform a double somersault, but he turned triples with ease. A triple is not an easy thing. Only a handful of trained from birth flyers can pull them off. But the thing was, I had a feeling if I had a couple more hours, he would pull off a quad. And he had a natural grace about him, an air of showmanship, you might say. I heard the door swing open right as Leo left the platform for a layout. I watched as he kept his body stiff and released, flipping completely around while in a straight plank position. His hands collapsed with his brothers, each gripping tightly to the taped wrists of the others. Ralph released him out of his hands, thrusting him forward to catch the other trapeze. Mikey and I grabbed his torso and pulled him back onto the platform as he reached it, and Donatello grabbed the trapeze bar, then quickly hooked it out of the way. Slow clapping sounded out from below us. It was my brother, dressed in dark blue jeans and a Queen t-shirt. He looked different, as last time I saw him in costume. The boys looked nervous at me, and Raphael sat up straight on the bar to shoot me a what-do-we-do-now look. Style, I whispered. What? Puzzled Donatello. Just do as I do, I told him while sweeping my hands out to the side and giving him a thankful nod. I tried to do it as mainly as possible, because if I styles how I and most of the other circus girls are supposed to style, it would have looked, well, quite queer. They followed, sort of, in suit. Wow, cousin, the team of yours is sure going to give the crowd a run for their money, he smiled. My brother just complimented me. I squealed a little inside. I meant us. Thank you. We were just finishing up now if you need the ring to practice or something. He shook his head. No, I just came to tell you where your dressing room is, he said, casually tucking his thumb into his front pockets. Something that I do all the time. Now I remember where I got that from. Down the hall, fifth one on the right. See you guys tonight. I've got some errands to run. He shot us a slight two-fingered salute before heading out the door. We have to go work on your styling before the show tonight. I stepped to the edge and turned around, holding my hands out beside me, and I closed my eyes. I fell straight backward into the net. Once everyone was down on the ground, I led them to our dressing room. I clicked on a light. It was a small locker-type room with two doors in the back, leading to the showers and to the toilet, I assume, with a long table in the center and 2 sofa chairs and a couch along the wall. The other wall was lined with 2 small desks with mirrors, and for doing makeup and hair at. Get some rest, guys. You're gonna need it. Try not to talk to anyone until I get back. Where are you going? Asked Raphael through raised eyebrows. To put together some costumes. I'll be back as soon as I can. I headed for the door and pulled it open. Then I stopped and turned slightly to face them. I just want you guys to know, there are no words to describe how proud I am of you all right now. I smiled and shut the door behind me. Chapter 39. I was on my way back to the circus office. 2 small white envelopes with several VIP front row circus tickets tucked safely into my back pocket as I made my way down the hall. I quickly peeked into our dressing room, and sure enough, all 4 brothers were passed out on the various sofas and couches. Their much weaker human bodies were not used to the strenuous aerial work I had put them through this morning, and had tuckered them out. And Raphael made fun of me when I wanted to take a break from rooftop leaping, back my first night above ground as a turtle. I should wake him just to tease him about that, but I smiled and quickly forgot that idea when I saw how adorably passed out he was against Donatello. Streaks of red and black hair covered his sleeping face. I never thought a group of teenage boys sleeping against each other could be so heartwarming. True, they often fought, as brothers do, and sometimes can't stand the sight of each other. But even in their subconscious, they are remarkably close, waiting to stick around, animal instinct, I guess you could say. Looking for something? An all-too-familiar voice slightly startled me. My brother appeared behind me. Oh, no, nothing. I perked up at his presence. Look. I nodded into the room at the sleeping foursome. He leaned, peeking over my shoulder, his familiar scent washing over me. Ah, I take it they're brothers, he said through a grin. Quadruples, actually, just non-identical. I shut the doors to not wake them. Brothers, they can be handful sometimes, but they have their moments. Makes me miss mine, though, I shrugged. I looked at him standing there, and it was hard to believe that this man was not my brother. Not my actual brother, anyway. Maybe, sure, he may look, act, and sound exactly like my brother, and maybe even share the same soul. But he is just a parallel, a mirror. My real brother is dead, just like his Roxanne. But looking at him and listening to his voice just made me almost completely forget about that. It was so natural here with him, like no time had passed since I last saw him. Like it had been 10 minutes and not 10 years. Where are you headed? He asked as I started for the exit. I gotta order a pizza and find a messenger. I daunted the task. You have a car? He held the door open for me, and I stepped out into the parking lot, the noisy sounds of New York filling the air. No, I was going to get a cab, I replied. I got a few errands to run myself. Need a ride? He offered kindly. This would give me a chance to spend a little time alone with my brother. The 6-year-old girl in me practically pulled her own hair out, begging me to say yes. Sure, thanks. And I will need these delivered ASAP. I told the skinny New Jersey girl behind the message counter as I handed her the envelopes. She smacked on her chewing gums as she jotted it down. The bell rang as I pushed the door open, and I stepped out onto the sidewalk. I had already had a pizza delivered to the guys so they could eat as soon as they woke up, because I knew they would be starving. I got back into my brother's pickup truck. What was that, if I might ask? He asked while pulling the giant truck out into the hectic New York traffic. Just a few tickets for some friends. That's nice of you, he smiled, my mother's eyes shining down at me. I smiled hugely up at him. Familiar memories of him and how much I loved him and looked up to him as a child returned to me immediately. Wow, I just noticed you have eyes that look exactly like my sister. Then his bright mood dimmed a little. Last one in the family. You do remind me a lot of her. His eyes focused on the road. I swallowed a lump in my throat. That's right, I died here. It must have been hard on him. I knew it was for me. It changed me. What was she like? His grip shifted on the steering wheel. We were stuck behind a red light. She was one of those girls you wouldn't forget. She was more than adorable, and she had the biggest blue eyes you ever saw. Just like yours. And beautiful golden blonde curls. Oh, so I was blonde here? Interesting. Cutest thing ever, and really funny too. The things she said sometimes. He smiled as if remembering. Crack you up, and man, did Roxy look up to me. I think she just adored me. We were close, really close. My parents performed a lot, so I took care of her most of the time. But I didn't mind. She was never a burden. I loved spending time with her. A silent tear rolled down my cheek. I quickly wiped it away with my hand, hoping he didn't see. He did. Crap. You okay? I wanted to lie. I wanted to say something was in my eye, but I was tired of lying. I didn't want to lie to him. But I couldn't exactly tell him the truth, now could I? Hey, yeah, it's me, your sister Roxy. I'm not dead. Well, I am dead, but I'm here. And you're dead, but you're not. But we're both here. And by the way, I'm a dimensional crossing powered being. So how's Mom? Yeah, I don't think so. I know how you feel to lose a sibling, my brother. Well, he died, Felix exclaimed. No, I shook my head. He left the show when I was very little. Just disappeared, I guess. Haven't heard from him since, I lied. Oh, I'm sorry, he said sympathetically. Yeah, I used to wonder what he'd be like if I saw him again, what happened to him to make him leave. He patted me on the shoulder, smiling a bit. It's a small world. Maybe you will see him again. The corner of my mouth twitched into my trademark sideways grin. Maybe I will. Alrighty, so that was the next set of chapters. Yeah, alrighty. Peace out, Knights.